Let's take a look at an introduction to organizational development. OD, or organizational development, is the development and improvement of strategies for organizational effectiveness. More broadly, OD can be viewed as a process used to enhance both the effectiveness of an organization and the well being of its members through planned intervention. Effectiveness in this context is defined as achieving organizational goals and objectives. Well-being refers to the perceived overall satisfaction each organizational member feels towards his or her job and work environment. Generally speaking, having challenging and meaningful work leads to high work satisfaction, and if rewarded by the organization, to higher satisfaction with rewards as well. Planned interventions are sets of structured activities in which organizational groups engage in tasks related to organizational improvement. Many training programs fail to show any tangible benefits if there is inadequate attention to organizational issues. OD theory can be divided into two categories: change process theory and implementation theory. Change process theory seeks to explain the dynamics through which organizational improvement and change takes place. Kurt Lewin depicted the change process as occurring in three stages: unfreezing, moving, and refreezing. Lewin views change as deriving from two forces, those internally driven and those imposed or induced by the environment. For change to be environmentally imposed, driving forces must outnumber restraining forces. Human process-based theories place a heavy emphasis on the process of change and focus on changing behaviors by modifying individual attitudes, values, problem-solving approaches, and interpersonal styles. Technostructural theory focuses on improving work content, method, flow, performance, and relationships among workers. One of the key concepts with this approach is job design. These researchers believe that changing one or more of a job's characteristics, a strategy called job enrichment, can induce positive psychological changes resulting in improved performance and satisfaction. The theory of organizational transformation change assumes that there are numerous challenges facing managers, including changes in mission, ways of doing business, ownership, and the impact of downsizing. To meet these challenges, organizational leaders must be able to develop a vision guided by beliefs and principles that can be translated into a mission and goals. The mission and goals should form the basis for managing an organization and distributing rewards. The concerns with much OD research has underscored the need for a model of planned change. Because of the lack of a generic model, change process and intervention theories are often recklessly combined and fail to integrate OD theory, research, and practice. The Paros and Silvers model of planned change provides a useful framework for introducing change within an organizational setting. The model distinguishes two types of intervention: OD and organizational transformation, or OT. The researchers feel that OT should be a separate entity because the underlying theories and concepts are not as well defined as OD. It also shows the relationship between change interventions and organizational target variables. Vision variables are the underlying organizational values, beliefs, and principles that guide management decisions and provide the foundation for the purpose and mission of an organization. Target variables include policies, procedures, work rules, job descriptions, formal reporting lines, social factors, and communication patterns. In essence, these form the framework for organizational structure. The third part of the model focuses on the types of individual cognitive change, which is the alteration of a person's perception of some existing organizational variable or paradigm. Each level of cognitive change represents change as an occurrence on a broader scope from individual to organizational. There are at least three distinct sets of roles that must be fulfilled when designing an intervention change strategy. The change manager oversees the design of an intervention strategy. This person has overall responsibility for assessing the need for change, implementing strategy, and evaluating results. A change agent assists the change manager and has primary responsibility for facilitating all the activities surrounding the design and implementation of a strategy. The roles of individuals within a system that is the target of an intervention strategy are determined by the change manager. The system can be a small work group or an entire organization. To design an intervention strategy, the change manager must be able to diagnose the existing environment, develop and implement a plan of action, and evaluate the results of the intervention. Diagnosing the environment is an assessment process that focuses on determining the readiness of a target group to accept change. Developing an action plan involves identifying specific target variables and determining the techniques that will be used to bring about change. The action plan specifies the intervention strategy. Like any other plan, the action plan should specify the objective of each change activity, who will be involved, who is responsible, and when the activity will be completed. The role of the change manager, with the assistance of the change agent, is to oversee the implementation of the plan and ensure all steps are followed, tasks are completed, and deadlines are met. The change manager should continually confer with the members of the system to review results, get feedback, and make appropriate adjustments. HRD practitioners can serve as change agents or as the evaluator of intervention strategy. Most early OD interventions were human process-based interventions. These interventions are directed at improving interpersonal, intergroup, and intergroup relations. Two common human process-based intervention strategies that are still widely used are survey feedback and team building. Survey feedback is defined as the systematic feedback of survey data to groups with the intent of stimulating discussion of problem areas, generating potential solutions, and stimulating motivation for change. This data can then be used to compare an organization's current state with some desired state. Ideally, the result of survey feedback is that changes will be attempted to bridge the gap between the current state and the desired state. Team building is a process used to improve a work group's problem-solving ability and effectiveness. Like individuals, groups experience problems, and team building can be used to address some of those problems. There's evidence that human process-based interventions can be effective in bringing about change. One meta-analysis finds sizable effects for team building on process improvement, performance, and effect. A later meta-analysis finds a small but statistically significant positive effect of team building interventions on subjective measures of performance. However, the effect on objective measures of performance was not significant. It seems that evidence for the effectiveness of team building on organizational performance is fairly robust. The purpose of technostructural interventions is to improve work content, methods, relationships, and to lower costs. Many organizations have turned to technostructural interventions to increase worker efficiency and satisfaction. The most common strategies are job enlargement, enrichment, and alternative work schedules. Job enlargement interventions attempt to increase satisfaction and performance by consolidating work functions from the work unit to provide greater variety and a sense of the whole task. Informal job enlargement takes place as a normal supervisory practice in most organizations. Job enrichment involves varying some aspect of a job in order to motivate workers. Alternative work schedules allow employees to modify their work requirements to satisfy personal needs. According to a study of 521 corporations, 93% of responding organizations have some type of alternative work schedules. The two most common AWS interventions are the compressed work week and flex time. According to research, it appears that technostructural interventions can lead to changes, but that they're less effective overall than human process-based interventions. Of the three types of technostructural interventions, job design has the greatest effect on productivity, while alternative work schedules has the greatest effect on attitude. All three types have the greatest effect on managerial and professional employees. STS interventions focus on the combination of organizational structure demands and social demands. STS interventions have been among the most widely implemented current OD interventions. Research suggests that these interventions have a greater effect on productivity than either human process-based or technical-structural based interventions. Faced with stiff competitions, organizations have identified quality as a critical competitive factor. One way to improve quality is to design and implement a Total Quality Management (TQM) program. TQM is a set of concepts and tools for getting every employee responsible for continuous quality improvement in the eyes of the customer. It usually involves a significant change in the way employees do their work. Self-managed teams, SMTs, are defined as formal groups in which group members are interdependent and can have the authority to regulate a team activities. Organizations typically use SMTs as part of a larger organizational transformation strategy directed at refocusing the organization, increasing employee involvement, increasing productivity, or reducing costs. There are some significant differences between these approaches. In an SMT approach, each team is empowered with the authority to make decisions affecting the output of the team without concurrence of the supervisor. Teams used with TQM are usually encouraged to participate in problem solving, but they do not have the authority to implement changes. TQM focus primarily on quality as compared with the SMT, in which quality is one of several goals. Both approaches require changes in organizational structure, including policy, accountability, and labor contracts. Organizational transformation, OT, focuses on redefining the desired mission, organizational culture, and strategy. Organizational culture is a system of shared values, beliefs, and norms that are used to guide employee behavior. Organizational culture is communicated and reinforced through organizational mechanisms and managers. Organization culture interventions involve more than simply restating values, beliefs, or norms and communicating them to individuals. Culture change involves a complex process of replacing an existing paradigm or way of thinking with another. Strategic change is defined as any fundamental change in an organizational purpose or mission requiring system-wide changes. System-wide changes can have three dimensions: size, depth, and pervasiveness. The earlier success with TQM and continuous improvement programs was the genesis of the learning organization approach. TQM intervention involves an emphasis on learning by everyone being involved in the process. The High Performance Work System, HPWS, is another approach that has emerged from companies involved in continuous improvement. HPWS was multifaceted, involving different combinations of the intervention strategies. Many anecdotal reports describe successful OT strategies, but not enough is known about their overall effectiveness. The key to successful OT intervention is the articulation of the organization's vision that provides guiding principles.